Hi, I'm Mark, and welcome to the current Outside Views report on Russia's war of aggression against Ukraine. According to US President Joe Biden, the USA is ready to offer Ukraine similar protection to Israel after the end of the Russian war of aggression. Biden related the proposal to the period between the end of the war and a possible NATO membership. In a CNN interview ahead of the NATO summit this week in Lithuania, Biden also emphasized that such a comprehensive protection guarantee would only be conceivable in the event of a ceasefire and a peace agreement. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, whose country has been defending itself against a Russian invasion for 16 months, again made his participation in the NATO summit conditional. All decisions would have to be made during the meeting on Tuesday and Wednesday. That's what he told US broadcaster ABC. I don't want to go to Vilnius for fun if the decision has already been made, he said. Specifically, he said, Ukraine should be given clear security guarantees as long as it is not in NATO. That would be a very important point. Only under these conditions would their meeting make sense. The summit in Vilnius is about how Ukraine can be brought closer to the alliance and what security guarantees can be given after the end of the Russian war of aggression. However, the formal invitation to NATO desired by Ukraine will probably not come about. Biden and a number of other NATO partners do not yet consider Ukraine ready for a session, also because of the ongoing war, of course. Biden said an accession process would take time. In the meantime, however, the US could provide Ukraine with the necessary weapons and enable it to defend itself. The United States supports Israel with around $3.8 billion every year, a considerable part of which goes into defense against missiles and military technology. However, the USA is also already providing massive support to Ukraine. According to their own statements, they have provided or promised military aid of more than $40 billion since the beginning of the war at the end of February 2022. Russia criticized the fact that Zelensky brought several high-ranking officers involved in the defense of the Azovstal steelworks in Mariupol back to Ukraine from Turkey on Saturday. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov criticized this as a direct violation of existing agreements by both the Turkish and Ukrainian sides. The release of the Azov commanders from Russian captivity was conditional on their remaining in Turkey until the end of the war, he said. Shortly after the war began, the port city of Mariupol was bitterly contested. After several months, several thousand Ukrainian soldiers, including fighters from the nationalist Azov regiment, were holed up in the Azovstal steelworks. Later, the last defenders surrendered and were taken prisoner by the Russians. Then they were extradited to Turkey and returned to their homeland after negotiation with the Turkish side, according to the Ukrainian side. Moscow also found harsh words for the US delivery of cluster munitions to Ukraine. This would be another blatant revelation of the aggressive anti-Russian course of the USA, which aims at the maximum prolongation of the conflict in Ukraine and a war to the last Ukrainian. That was commented by the Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova. The cluster munitions are part of a new $800 million US military aid package. Washington had defended the decision as necessary despite the increased dangers to civilians. Russia itself used cluster bombs in the war. Criticism of the decision in Washington also came from Great Britain, Spain, and Germany. German Federal President Frank-Walter Steinmeier said in a summer interview in public television on Sunday that it was true that this type of ammunition was still banned by the federal government and that Germany was against deliveries. But the federal government cannot stand in the arms of the USA in the current situation, or fall into their arms. That's I don't know, it's a German expression I'm trying to translate here because he's the German president, and they don't want to hinder the USA. Let's say that. It's German proverbs are really hard to translate. And if you're interested in more developments, the next video is right here in the end screen. I'll see you there. I'll be back.